Hello, welcome to the Courageous Self-Care Podcast. I'm your host, Christina Marlette. On this show, we talk about self-care in all of its forms, not just the ones that we usually associate with self-care. So this is not a show about how to go get a manicure or how to go get a massage. This is self-care at its finest. And it is broad, it is wide, it is deep, and it's very exciting to me. I love talking about this stuff. So thank you for joining me today. And I wanted to share with you that it's so important for us as human beings to connect in person from time to time. We love our technology. It's fantastic that you are listening to this from wherever you are in the world. It's absolutely amazing. And we have online courses and we have the ability to do coaching and that kind of thing online. And at the same time, it's so important to regularly schedule in time to be face-to-face with other human beings who are like-minded, who lift us up, and who see a bigger vision for us than we can even see for ourselves. And that's why I decided to create the Courageous Self-Care Festival. It's a one-day event happening later this fall in November 2018 in Calgary, Canada. And I am so excited about this festival. It's a much bigger dream than I ever have dreamed for myself. And I'm implementing the courageous part of courageous self-care to put on this festival. There are lots of doubts coming up, and whenever they come up, I just say to myself, it's going to turn out better than I ever could have imagined. And that is what is continuing to come to the surface. So I'm very excited. Now, if you're listening to this and you're nowhere near Calgary, Canada, not to worry, you don't have to turn it off, because I thought our speakers and our vendors are so amazing. I can't just confine them to the one-day event. And then I had the brilliant idea that, I have a podcast. I can showcase them on the podcast. Fantastic. So I have one of our illustrious speakers with me today, Sam Bell. Sam, welcome.
Hi, thank you for having me here.
I'm so glad to have you, and I'm so glad that you're part of the festival. And you are actually the very first person who said, yes, I want to go for it. So big applause for you and special energy to you, because that was when I knew my vision was actually coming into reality. So thank you for saying yes.
Yay, brilliant. That's what I love.
So Sam, tell us briefly a little bit about who you are and what you're up to. I know there's a lot of great stuff going on for you.
There is lots going on for me at the moment. Yeah, so I am Sam Bell, and my passion is to empower women on all levels. I help them with their physical and emotional health, their spiritual growth, relationships, and business. My background is a nurse and a midwife, and I use all of those clinical skills along with my own personal story and experience, and very much my intuition as well, to coach and heal women.
As I say in every single interview I do, I'm covered in goosebumps, and I call them truth bumps. So yeah. I love what you are doing. It's so important, as I know you know that. And I love how you're bringing together all of your different skill sets to help shift the energy of women. And it's such an important time to be able to do that.
It is. We're in exciting times, big changes for women on the horizon.
Absolutely. So can you tell us a little bit about what you're sharing at the festival and why it's important to you?
Absolutely. A lot of my work now is with mothers and daughters, and this is really because of my own background, but I work with mothers and daughters to improve, heal, or even have the confidence to walk away from sometimes toxic relationships. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm actually going to be sharing 3 things that every daughter can do to improve their relationship with their mother.
More goosebumps.
Our relationship with our mother is probably one of the most profound relationships we ever have as a woman, and it affects us in so many different ways. And some women say to me, yeah, but is it too late because, she's old and she's getting old? So I said, no, it's never too late, to work on that relationship or to even walk away from it. I walked away from the relationship with my mother when I was in my early 40s.
That was going to be my next question. Is this topic near and dear to your heart because you've had an amazing relationship with your mother, or because you've gone through some turmoil and challenge and come through it?
Oh, because I've gone through a lot of adversity, a lot of turmoil, a lot of challenge, and I've come through it. I actually now have reached a space where I have gratitude to my mother, even though she emotionally abused me for so many years and gaslighted me into believing I was something that I am not. And I'm grateful because she was there for a reason, and that reason was to place me in this position now where I can help many, many other women who are in similar situations.
I so admire that, Sam, and I think that's so important for people to recognize is the people in our lives who are challenging, who are difficult, who are abusive. They're not there against us. Like on a spiritual level, they are there to support our growth. We've chosen to come into this lifetime to learn lessons. We can't learn those lessons without teachers. And generally, those teachers show up in packages that we aren't thrilled about. And what you've done, what you've been able to do is move through that with a sense of gratitude for having your mother contribute to who you are, and also so that you can go out into the world and help other women who are experiencing the same thing overcome that in a way less painful way with so much less suffering.
Yeah, it's a subject that really is quite taboo. People don't like to discuss difficult relationships with mothers, or mothers don't like to discuss difficult relationships with daughters. Very rarely spoken about. And a lot of my work with my speaking, for instance, is to say it's okay to talk about it and take action and to learn from it. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's so important and so valuable what you just said, in that we don't necessarily talk about our relationships with our mothers, except maybe in groups of women who want to complain. And complaining about mothers is not really going to shift anything. What we need to do is move into a space where we are open and curious and wanting to know, like, why is it showing up like this? What can I learn from it? If I want to shift it, how can I do that? So I love that you're providing that space for it. And it makes me think of a few years ago, I was doing mother-daughter parties every month with my daughter and the other kids and moms from her school. And I did them in my basement, and they were amazing, like just so incredible, because we were setting up foundations for relationships that would continue to blossom. And then I went into a more public setting, and I had some people who weren't from the school, and I had some women calling saying, can I bring my mom who's like, I'm an adult, and can I bring my mom because I feel like there's some improvements that could be had in our relationship? And I said, absolutely, it's open to all ages. We all have mothers, and it's so important to focus on that relationship and see what we can do about it. Whether it's going well and we want to enhance it, or if it's not going well, seeing what we can do about it.
Absolutely. I think that's great that you had the insight to do that all that time ago. We need to do it more. Definitely.
Yes, exactly. I keep on saying on these interviews, how am I going to be in every room at once so I can hear all the different talks? They all sound so fascinating. So we're going to shift gears a little bit and explore courage and self-care and what those mean to you. So first of all, self-care. When I say self-care, what does that bring to mind for you, Sam?
Self-care for me is allowing myself to get vulnerable. To be in a safe place, feel nurtured, feel supported, and not judged, so that I can be truly my authentic self. Because in my experience, it's only when I have been in that place that I have actually grown and healed. And my self-care is, I love wine, I love chocolate, I love bubble baths, yes, but and that time set aside for yourself is so important. But being able to really get truthful and vulnerable is the only way we can truly heal and work on ourselves.
I just love that. And I agree with you 100%. I love how Brene Brown has brought to our attention that vulnerability is the thing we fear the most, and yet it's what we crave the most and what connects us most deeply as human beings. It's that catch-22. And as we learn to flex that vulnerability muscle, which takes the courage, hence the courageous part and the courageous self-care, everything shifts. Like our relationships become so much more rich, our health improves, like every single aspect of our lives is affected by having that courage to be vulnerable.
Absolutely.
And I love that you identify that as self-care.
And I'm getting angel bumps, so there you go.
Yes, that's right. They're contagious.
It is.
All right, so for the courage part, what I'm having our interviewees do is share something that most people don't know about you.
Okay, so some people may know this, but maybe not greatly. But I had social anxiety disorder as a young child, teenager, and going into the majority of my early adult years, and found out in later years that I actually suffered complex post-traumatic stress disorder.
Wow.
But, yeah, and that was a result of the years and years and years of narcissistic abuse. And yeah, I must admit now, when I do a podcast like this, or I get up on that stage and I'm able to, to speak from my heart space, I'm so bloody proud of myself, Christina. I really am, because, there was a time where I was crippled with anxiety and so frightened of people and couldn't go into a crowded room without having my head stuck down a toilet, first of all, and, vomiting. It's amazing when I look and see how far I've come.
Oh, well, I'm so proud of you too. That's amazing. And I love that you shared that, because if any of our listeners are experiencing that or know someone who's going through that, it gives so much hope. Like, we have these challenges and we're designed to work through them, and not necessarily, well, not at all by ourselves, but by putting ourselves out there saying, hey, I could use some help. I'm going through this. Do you know anyone? Or are you the person who can help me? And I love that you shared that. Thank you for that courageous glimpse into your life.
It's been quite a life.
So I know that many of our listeners are going to be feeling really connected to you and wanting to know how they can get a hold of you, explore more about what you do and how you can serve them. So how can they connect with you online?
So I actually thought about this very carefully, and I wanted to do something special specifically for these listeners. So I'm going to provide you with a link, Christina, if that's okay, for them to book a half an hour session with me, just to talk about mother and daughter and just discover some of the ways that you can actually empower yourself to move forward in your relationship and the benefits that it can have for you. So I want to make that available to the listeners of this podcast.
That is so generous. And I imagine that, well, I know for sure that that's complimentary, and you're doing it out of generosity and out of the desire to help people shift what isn't working. So I strongly encourage you to take action on this amazing offer. You have nothing to lose, and a whole different way of showing up in the world to gain. And one of the foundations of courageous self-care is taking embodied action, which means going beyond the in your head, oh, that sounds like a good idea, and then never doing anything about it. You actually need to use your body to take action. And in this case, that means moving around your fingers, clicking on some links, moving your arms, and then looking in your calendar and scheduling a time. So I strongly encourage you to do that, because Sam is amazing. And I don't know anyone else who is offering this kind of support. And it is so important. So thank you for that, Sam. And the link will be in the description to this podcast.
Beautiful. I look forward to connecting with people. And that will be telephone or Zoom. So we can see each other or not, whatever you feel most comfortable with.
And no matter where you are in the world, Sam is there for you.
Absolutely.
Yes. Beautiful. So at the festival, if you are able to attend live, the first 100 attendees are getting incredible swag bags. And I've asked all of our speakers and vendors to think about what they would really love to receive in a swag bag, because I have been disappointed on so many occasions opening up a swag bag and all that's in there is business cards and stuff I have to pay for. So, oh my gosh, I've been so, my heart has been opened and warmed by the generosity of what our amazing speakers and vendors are contributing to these swag bags. So Sam, do you want to share a little bit about what you're putting in?
Well, I'm not going to, because because the surprise is a part of the self-care, right? But it's going to be a little package of self-care items handpicked by me. Each one may be just a little bit different, so you can trust that whichever one you're going to get is going to be specific and meaningful to you. And you're actually going to be able to put it into practice as you move forward after the conference. So, yeah. But I'm not telling you what's in it, because then that will spoil it.
And you're making 100 of those.
I am. I have already started.
Isn't that just delightful, listeners? Wow, I'm so touched. And I know if you are in Calgary, you are going to want to be there and to get one of those swag bags, because I know what's going into them. And I am going to be very tempted to keep them to myself.
You do know actually what's going to be in.
I'm going to have good volunteers who say, Christina, drop that bag. That's for our guest.
Love it.
So as a thank you for listening to this episode, if you are in Calgary and you would love to attend the SelfCare Festival, I want to remove all the barriers and honor you for listening today and give you a complimentary ticket. So you can get that at the link in the podcast description, or you can go to selfcareticket.com, click on the activate or register button, and you will get you'll get all sorts of reminders and insider information, and these interviews are going to go in there. So it is beneficial to schedule that into your life. Sam, thank you so much. This has been absolutely delightful. I'm so looking forward to having you as part of the festival and our journey as it continues to unfold as we work our way towards there.
Absolutely. Thank you. I'm really excited for it. Yay.
Me too.
We need it.
That's right. And I'll leave you with this final thought as you're listening here today. And what's coming up right now is that I say this a lot, and I think it's so important to keep on repeating, is that there is nothing selfish about self-care. I remember hearing a woman being described who had won a big award at an event I was speaking at, and someone said, what I love about her is she never gives to herself. She always gives to others. And I thought, that is an old paradigm that must die. That is not okay. And it's not okay for us to idolize that kind of woman who will sacrifice her well-being to take care of others. No, we want women who prioritize their well-being in order for them to be able to take care of others from an even deeper place of love and fulfillment. That's what we want. So there's nothing selfish about self-care, and please do not give it all away. You have got to inhale as well as exhale.
Beautiful. I love it. Nice.
Thank you. So if you enjoyed this episode, feel free to like it, leave a comment, share it with your friends. What else can you do? Become a follower on whatever platform you're listening to. That all helps the word get out there. This podcast is being listened to in several dozen countries, and I'm just so grateful that the message is going global. If everyone knew about courageous self-care, oh my goodness, the world would be a different place. So thank you for listening. Thank you for being who you are, and give yourself a big gold star today for listening to this episode. That counts as some of your courageous self-care. Well done. I look forward to connecting with you again next time. Bye-bye for now.